Hey everyone, welcome to one more of our panels for Infinite Summer. We're really excited to start this Tomb Raider discussion. I have 5 amazing Tomb Raider panelists here that we're going to be talking about all things Tomb Raider. Infinite Summer has been going really well. We're really excited about it. We've been doing developer interviews, game trailers, topical panels. So thank you for joining us for this one. And I'm going to have you go around and introduce yourselves a little bit. We're going to dive into some topics talking about today's topic, Tomb Raider. Allie, tell us about yourself.
Yes. Hi, I'm Ellie, or also known as Piccadilly. I'm sort of part of the Tomb Raider Twitter community, although it's gotten a little quieter because my life has gotten a little stressful. But I also stream a lot on Twitch. I have streamed a lot of Tomb Raider, and I'm still going to stream a lot of Tomb Raider in the future. But mostly, I'm a variety streamer, and I'm from Germany. Hi.
Awesome. Mark, you're next.
Right. Well, hi, I'm the Worldly Gamer. I am a Tomb Raider challenge runner. I do a lot of no loads, no meds, which basically means you've got to get through the entire game without loading, healing, or dying, and then you start the game again, which is pretty insane, pretty fun, pretty psychotic, but there you go. But yeah, so I stream a lot of things on Twitch, mainly Tomb Raider. So yeah, I mean, I absolutely love Tomb Raider. I grew up with Tomb Raider as a kid growing up, and Tomb Raider is just my favorite thing. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you for sharing.
My turn?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Jay. I'm known as Laura's photographer. I do virtual photography like this one. So you'll see me on Twitter, Instagram, posting daily. When I'm not doing that, I do stream on Twitch too, where I play Tomb Raider games and take photos like this live.
Yeah, it's definitely awesome to have Jay with us. Jay is also our mod for Tomb Raider Infinite. He's really cool. We've been working together forever. You're probably one of the most passionate people that I've known about this platform, and you were actually a big reason why we started the Tomb Raider Infinite platform in the first place. It's one of our GI channels. So thank you again for all your hard work with that. It's great to have you. Izzy, what about you?
So I'm Izzy. My handle's Izzy Croft on Twitter and on Twitch. That being said, I do stream on Twitch. I stream a lot of Tomb Raider, and I stream a lot of other games as well, but I do try to sprinkle in my Tomb Raider streams in a little bit. But yeah.
Awesome.
All right. My name is Irene. I go by Irie as well. My name is Opera LC on Twitch, but Opera of the LC on Twitter because someone from 2009 has the ad I want. I play a variety of games. At the moment, I'm a learner because in September, I'm heading to college for game development. So hopefully one day I'll be working on games. Yeah.
That's really cool. I myself went to school for game development, more on the business and marketing side. So it's always cool to see other people who are going that same route as well. That's really cool. Well, thank you all for sharing. I'm really excited to have such a plethora of Tomb Raider fandom here to join us for this panel to talk about this topic. We got a lot of streamers here, which is really cool. A lot of the talents on the people who just love playing the Tomb Raider games. So I'm really excited to dive into this. What do you guys say we dive into the questions? So question number 1 is just to get us in the headspace of Tomb Raiders. Why is Tomb Raider so special, and how has it impacted your life? What makes this community and special, and what makes it stand out from the rest?
Probably the drama. No, I'm joking.
Why you keep coming back to Twitter? The drama.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah. Keeps exciting. It keeps exciting for us.
No, but personally, like I grew up with Tomb Raider. Like my earliest memories of gaming are with Tomb Raider. Like there's actually a picture of me, which I unfortunately don't have with me. My mom has it at home.
Oh.
But like it's a picture of me where I'm like not even 2 years old, and I'm just sitting in front of the PlayStation and the TV, the controller on my legs, and you just see Lara Croft in the background. Like
it's funny.
I grew up with Tomb Raider, of course, also with other games, but like Tomb Raider was always very special to me because I played it with my mom a lot. Like my first Tomb Raider game was Tomb Raider 2. And I remember that as a kid, like coming home from school or like from kindergarten, booting up the PlayStation and playing Tomb Raider, like I just loved it so much. And yeah, I followed the franchise to this day. And yeah, and like the community is so special because at least to me, because there are so many different people in there, like of like all sorts of people. I've met so many great friends. And yeah, I'm just very, very glad to know so many awesome people.
Agreed. It's definitely
Yes.
awesome the amount of just amazing people that Game Infinite and the platform have been able to collaborate with and meet and talk to, and the TR Infinite GI channel has been a really great avenue for us to meet people like you guys. So it's definitely, I definitely second that the community is just awesome and supportive. And all right, anyone else?
Yeah,
Also
the
very
community
talented.
is. I was just gonna say the community is crazy talented. Like the artists that we have that
Oh,
do
yeah.
not only traditional art, digital, 3D renders. Like we get spoiled through the community.
Mhm.
Like I love just going online and see like what people are creating. It's my favorite part about it.
Even musicians, like I was thinking about
Mm,
that during the
Yes.
25th anniversary,
Yeah.
and Norse chick, that's her name, right?
Mhm.
And she released like that song. I don't know if I've really ever seen like many other game franchises that
Yeah.
have that sort of thing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And not to mention the virtual photographers as well.
Yeah.
Kind of bringing Lara to life for us through the pictures.
Yeah, I mean, you got Jay's
Got
picture
you.
back there. You can't really
Yeah.
see it that well in the light, but
Oh, I can
yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
I love that one. I was so excited that you wanted to have me make one for you, and that's still one of my favorite photos. Like I haven't like found one that I love as much as that one, so that's a special one.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with Izzy with your point about about the virtual photography like community within the Tomb Raider community. Is just, I think it's one, honestly it's one of the we with all the channels that we have, Tomb Raider is the only game that I think has inspired as much virtual photography as, I mean, there's definitely others and there's definitely other games, but like that's not a huge presence in our other channels. It's really, it lives here. And like it's where I just first got introduced to the virtual photography community. That's how I met Jay, was just seeing, just admiring, like inspired by all the photos. Like it's becoming more and more common for games to have photo modes. It's just gotten way easier to take in-game photography, and it's definitely common, but like it seems extra common, extra part of the Tomb Raider community is the virtual photographers. They seem to just really resonate with this franchise.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because like I didn't even know that virtual photography was like a thing on Twitter until I saw all of Jay's and Hashta's pictures, and I was
Yep.
like, damn, that looks kind of cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know you could do that.
And then you came in and you killed it, and there's so many good photos with your Jacob era.
And I didn't do anything ever since. Well, we don't talk about that.
We miss it though.
Yeah, I should sit down with someday again, like try and take some pictures,
Or
because
just-
I do like
just-
it. It's very fun.
Yeah,
But like
I
our
miss seeing
life has
it.
just been too hectic recently. I'm glad if I get some time to stream, so.
yeah, understand.
I'm still in awe at some of the photos that we see sometimes, just like Jay, like, like it's still like, even like there are games that have photo modes that are impressive, but then there are games that don't and somehow still pulling off, like, yeah, there's mods and things, but like sometimes you just pull off even games that have photo modes. It's just like, how did you do that? Like, how did you get like the lighting and the moment, and just like
Yeah,
it is a lot of people like that are outside the virtual photography community that don't know the amount of work that can go into just capturing the right moment.
Mhm.
They think you're just playing a game and you take a screenshot at a
Yep.
moment, and like that.
pointing and
But
shooting. Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with pointing and shooting, but like
Yeah.
people like you that take it to that next level where you're just really capturing. You're doing full on photography. You're doing everything, like adjusting camera settings and lighting and understanding moment and angles, and like you're doing all that real photography stuff, but in a virtual setting.
Yeah, it's awesome, and that's why I love it, because I mean I get to be lazy and be at home and take photos instead of going out in the wild. And it's the reaction for people is nice to see too. And with Tomb Raider, it was one of the first games, at least that I knew of, that had virtual photography. That's how I knew about. I didn't even know about the world. I like was taking pictures and I just posted one on Instagram because I was like, well, I need to save these somewhere. And then I like saw from people like it. I'm like, oh, these people are like photographers. And I'm like, oh, there's a whole community of people just doing this. And now I get to hang out with my favorite character in the world, which is Lara, for longer. So like I immediately became obsessed. And Tomb Raider doesn't have like the greatest of photo modes because it was very in the beginnings of these games doing it. So that is like a challenge fighting good lighting, because it's not like I can like make my own like in the Insomniac games or anything, but that's the challenge that I like, and I like, giving people something to look at with Lara.
Yeah, Shadow's photo mode makes me cry. I don't know how you work with it at all. I just whenever I used it, I wanted to scream.
Yeah, it's very very entry level. So hopefully the next game has like a sick one where it's very advanced, so I can really go crazy. But it's done its job.
Jay, nothing will be as bad as the Final Fantasy VII
Oh my
remakes photo mode.
god!
I was so mad.
Yeah, same.
Me too. I was so pissed off. How dare they call this a camera mode? You can move the camera for like 2 centimeters.
And it's like gyro locks where you can't like just move it free, like it rotates. It's so bad.
Yeah.
And it was what makes me even more mad is that was the game when they announced it. I was like, that was the one that convinced me that I wanted to get a PS5 a little bit sooner than later, because I was fine waiting. There wasn't really anything coming out that I needed. I had my gaming PC, but then they announced the update for 5, and I really liked Final Fantasy 7, and it was amazing. And then I was just like, all right, then I'll go for it. And then when I played it, I was like, man, this is awful. So I'm glad nothing will be that bad. So
it's the same on PC as well. So like it's the exact same on PC. Still the same awful camera mode. So
yeah. Sorry.
Disappointing. I was so excited. I was like, I can finally take cloud photos and air photos, and then I got in there. I'm like, come on, I can't do anything with this.
Yeah. All right. Back to the question. Why is it so special, and
how
has it impacted your life? What about you, the rest of you? Anything else you'd like to add? It's a big important question.
I think for me personally, kind of, I was 3 when I first started playing Tomb Raider. My dad got it for his birthday, and I was sat on his lap playing Tomb Raider 2, going around Venice in the boat, and it was very, very fun. And I remember when I started getting older, kind of like 6, 7, I decided that I'd kind of give it a go by myself, play it, see how it went. And then I kind of ruined the save game by saving when Lara was on fire. And he came home and like she just like fell over dead. And I saved like, and I used all his med kits as well. So she just fell over dead, and it was just like, who's been touching my game? Not me. No. But in general, no, Tomb Raider for me growing up she's just such an inspiration, Lara. She's absolutely incredible growing up. I mean, she, kind of, I went to like going through kind of quite a hard time at school, things like that. It was quite difficult. And then obviously coming home to Lara was always good. So she definitely helped me growing up. I think she's a huge inspiration to a lot of people as well.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. What about you, Izzy or Irene?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the game that kind of like impacted me the most, especially mentally, was Rise of the Tomb Raider. It was kind of my escape when I was like in an abusive relationship. I just kind of I just would go home and just play that game and just kind of escape from like my reality. And I kind of got my strength from her to just eventually leave that situation. So it definitely like had a hard impact on me, and I still hold it close to my heart, for those reasons. So it got really heavy. I'm sorry, but that's the most like impactfulness, I guess, it's had on me. So
no, we really appreciate you sharing that. There's nothing wrong with more serious, more heavy answers to some of these questions. We joke around and we can laugh, and we really get a lot of joy from this community. But like it's definitely good to hear when games help people survive through difficult situations, and whether it's you're going through whatever time in your life, and there was that game that was there for you. Like one of the reasons why I think I can't talk about games for more than 10 minutes without bringing up Mass Effect. But one of the reasons why it is so important for me is that it got me through a difficult time in life, and it's one of those things where like sometimes that one game is special for that reason, is it gets you through rough times. So thank you for sharing. And Tomb Raider is definitely a good answer for that one, because I mean, who's more of a survivor than Tomb Raider? I mean,
right.
Like Croft is known for just being a survivor, especially in the Survivor reboot trilogy, is just something that's
absolutely
not on my game. She's not. She dies a bloody ton. I'll give you.
Stop setting her on fire.
I know.
There are some pretty gruesome deaths if you fail. You're not wrong.
Oh, especially that was it the spike through the neck. That was all in 2013. That was awful.
Oh my god.
Oh,
I saw
So
this.
hard to avoid too.
I know. I kept going down that water, the rapids, and I kept going into the
Same.
spike, and it was so annoying. I was like, Laura, please.
I saw this person on it was after the Summer Games Fest live stream where they showed off a lot of Callisto Protocol, and that's a very gruesome, very Dead Space, very like when you die hard. And someone was like, "Man, I want the next Tomb Raider game to be like this." I'm like, "No, no." It's like I don't want to see like
Yeah.
his head get ripped off and like
I
just
think
like,
that's too much.
I'm
I
like,
mean,
no, I
we
don't
love
want that.
death animations, but
No,
I
She
don't know
can
about
get
that.
crumpled on the floor or like get on some spikes, burnt to death.
Yeah.
It's fine, but like head off, like
It wasn't even just like
Nah.
straight decapitation. Like it was like there was like one of the monsters in the game
Like,
like
shoot his head
literally
off.
chews the head.
Oh,
They couldn't
no.
even show it on certain
Came
like
close in
certain YouTubers.
Shadow.
Yeah, I couldn't. No, I don't want that.
Yeah, Shadow
Um,
did have some like pretty good deaths. There was like the wolf one where she falls and all the wolves like or the foxes all attack her.
Oh yeah.
And then like there's a snake pit in there too.
Oh yeah, the
Well,
Yashil.
I don't know what you guys are talking about because I clearly never died in my playthroughs. I know, so I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't get stuck trying to fight that damn tiger for an hour. So
Oh my god.
Jaguar
my
Lord.
initial playthrough, I thought I was just really bad, but my initial playthrough of Shadow was bugged, where like the tiger was like immortal. Like I spent
no.
an hour trying to kill the tiger, and I ran out of arrows. I shot it like 87 times, and I just
Oh,
wouldn't
no.
die. So I literally had to I reloaded the game, and I killed it in
Oh
like
my
5
God.
minutes. And I'm like, okay, good, it wasn't me. It was just bugged.
Well,
Irene,
That's an
what about
unfortunate
you?
bug.
Honestly, I want to mention the community again because I actually found them during the pandemic, and I had just gotten I hadn't gotten laid off, but I worked at a school, so school was out, so I was home all alone, and then I found this community, and it was really amazing just finding like the group that I especially have now today. And it's the same with Laura. She was just kind of like always there as I was growing up. And even still, with no game, it's just pretty much everything in my life is with Laura, it seems like, no matter what other franchises I get into. But yeah.
always go back to Lara. Yep. Same.
yeah.
Mhm.
I'll quick add my own, like, yeah, I really enjoy the Tomb Raider franchise. I think mostly just for just the plethora of the community. Like it is one of the most like passionate and supportive communities. Like we do like Tomb Raider Tuesdays, and everyone just like shows up for it and loves sharing and supporting others. It's just a really supportive community. I've met some of the most talented people. Like Jay is honestly one of the most talented virtual photographers I've ever had to work with, and has been a really great resource for Game Infinite, been invaluable. And then of course we brought in Laura Licious as well, who's awesome, and is also a really great resource for Game Infinite. So it's just been awesome just getting to meet all these people, and now we get to do things like this, like the fact that we get to find other people as passionate about a game as we are and get to talk about it and do these types of things for Infinite Summer is really exciting to me. So I definitely would say that the community itself is what is really not to shake away from the games themselves. The games themselves are amazing experiences. 2013 was a really like when I got into the franchise. And I remember it's also what kind of helped kick off a lot of my like inner collector where like collecting stuff. I don't have it anymore, and I kind of regret that, but I had like a life-size like cardboard from like the initial like launch. It was really cool. But yeah, awesome. So thank you for sharing, everyone. How about we dive into the next question? This question could be either very, very easy or it could be impossible to answer. It depends on the person. And that is, what is your all-time favorite Tomb Raider game and why? Who'd like to go first?
They're all good.
This is
They're all-
quite a hard question. This is hard. It's difficult.
Hard
This.
question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can
then
we choose
I'm
like
gonna
from
start.
eras? Okay, Ali, go for it.
I'm gonna start because it's quite easy for me. I mean, technically, if we divide Tomb Raider in like these 4 eras, the classic era, then like the Von Croy era, then like LAU, and then reboot, then of course I technically have a favorite game out of each era. But if I had to pick a favorite, it's this one.
Anniversary.
Yes, Anniversary. And
pick.
as like for a simple reason, I absolutely love and adore Tomb Raider 1. But I think Tomb Raider Anniversary took everything that Tomb Raider 1 had and like elevated it to a level, brought it to modern platforms. And like I actually prefer some of the levels in Anniversary a lot more, except for Midas's Palace. That's a level I prefer in the original version, like in Tomb Raider 1. But like I love the animations in Anniversary. I love the combat system. Like it's simple, but it's effective. It just it makes me feel like I'm playing a actual remake or like a reimagining of Tomb Raider 1. Like the atmosphere is amazing, the soundtrack is great, and it's just a very comfortable game to me.
Yeah.
But I'd say Tomb Raider 2 is a very close second for me when it comes to favorite games. But yeah, Anniversary takes the crown for me. I just love that game.
Can I just say, like, with you liking Anniversary, I mean, I love Anniversary, but there is one level in that game that just really, the Great Pyramid, like when you're grappling.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
but I hate the entire Atlantis section in Tomb Raider 1. I can't, everything past Netless Mines, I can't stand it. So like I prefer it at Anniversary a lot more. So yes, that section in the Great Pyramid drives you crazy, but it still drives me less crazy than the entirety of Atlantis and Tomb Raider 1. So it's a win-win for me.
oh.
That's a good pick. Who else?
Well,
mine's Shadow, obviously. Like,
yes.
Why would I even be like, I don't know. Obviously, it's Shadow. Like I've been taking photos forever, but I like, I like them all. Anniversary, but I'm playing right now currently, Ali, and it wasn't my favorite of the LAU, but having played it like recently, it's my favorite of the LAU because it's the perfect Tomb Raider game. It's exploration. It's relaxing. It's my favorite now. But yeah, Shadow is my ultimate. Mark, you go.
Well, I was going to say that I think with Anniversary as well is that they paid good attention to detail, because in the level St. Francis Folly, for instance, they got they got the names, the mythology wrong in Tomb Raider 1, and they changed it in Tomb Raider Anniversary from like Neptune to Poseidon, and it just made a little bit more sense. So it was,
and Thor to like I think
Hephaestus or something like that. Yeah, my favorite game is Tomb Raider 3, which is quite shocking for many people.
No, I totally understand.
Just kayak aside, we'll forget about that. Besides that, I love Tomb Raider 3. I think it's got a really good vibe to it, especially near the end in Antarctica, where it takes from the movie called The Thing horror film. It in the RX Tech mines with the minecart with the sort of the zombie scientist towards the end of the game. It's so cool. It's a really clever design. And there's just so much I love about Tomb Raider 3 in general, just like going through with the crash site, with the dinos, like kind of like Jurassic Park sort of feel to it. I kind of feel with Tomb Raider 3, they kind of took a few things, a lot of inspiration from different movies, and I like that. And it comes together really well actually in Tomb Raider 3. And that's why Tomb Raider 3 is my favorite. It's just, I think Tomb Raider 2 is probably a very close second though, because I love Tomb Raider 2 and Tomb Raider 2 and Tomb Raider 3. So it's quite hard for me, but I'll go with 3.
Okay, Mark, but I gotta ask, what's your opinion on the London levels? Especially Aldwych.
Can we swear?
I would say let's keep it like PG-13 rating.
Okay. Honestly, I think the first level was okay because you can skip it. No. There's a glitchless strat where you can do the level in like 30 odd seconds by jumping across the rooftops. No, I'm just trying to think of something positive to say about it. It's hard.
No, that's so funny because I also really love Tomb Raider 3, but like London is actually my favorite section.
No, I'm sorry. You've been slagging it off for like
like the first time at the terms, I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I don't mind. It's a little long, but like I absolutely love Aldwych and I absolutely freaking love Let's Gate. I love those levels so much. I think that's funny, but I hate Antarctica.
Brilliant. Yeah, I liked Thames Wharf, but I didn't like Aldwych at all. And the reason why I didn't like Aldwych was, while I like the level design, I like the atmosphere in Aldwych. I mean, it's got great atmosphere. I loved it. I didn't like the design of the fact that you had to keep going back around in a circle to the same room over and over again. It was very confusing, I think, and I think a lot of people who played it for the first time would get very confused by it. And also with Lud's Gate as well. I just think it was a bit over the top for me. But I mean, London's not dreadful. I like City. That's a good level. That's a good level because it's short. No, I'm joking. City's a great level. I do like it. I like there's the bit in the Lud's Gate where you go into the museum part. I love that part. It's so good. It's so gorgeous. The music, it's amazing. Absolutely. But yeah, what is it about Antarctica that you're not too keen on? I'm curious now.
The first level is okay, like Antarctica itself, but I hate the Arctic tech mines. Like the Lost City of Tinnos is okay again, but like Arctic tech mines, I absolutely hate that level. I hate it. But like I also don't like getting jump scared by big, huge mutants in dark corners. So
Oh my god, yeah.
Antarctica is when Tomb Raider 3 becomes a horror game.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
And I don't really vibe with horror games, so I'm out there.
As I'm listening to this, what's really funny is I'm thinking of like there are probably at least some of our Fortnite generation of gamers, the younger gamers that are sitting here going like, what the hell are they talking about? Like everyone who's just played like 2013 and newer are going like, what? There was a third Tomb Raider. Wait, what are they talking about? I don't remember that in Shadow. Like, yeah, no, definitely good dialogue there. Thank you. What about Izzy and Irene? What about you guys? Favorite games?
Well, if you go by what I own, you can probably notice it's probably Shadow. I even have this thing from GameStop.
Yes.
I was very happy that I found it on eBay for a good price, but overall, I find it so comforting. Like I would come home after work. Whenever I first got it in like November of 2019, that's when I could finally play Rise in Shadow. And I would come home, and it took me so long to 100% it, but it was very comforting, just like be able to find everything, and then the music, just the atmosphere in the game. I think it's so well done. And then the tombs are amazing. And then I was also at like a pretty like iffy part of my life, and so I found like her ending pretty amazing. Like she finally found her peace and her origin was complete. She moved on from all of her issues and whatnot, and I don't know, I think it was pretty done. And also it has cross fitness in the game, so I think that's probably one of the main things as well.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I did like Shadow actually. I must admit it was definitely my favorite out of the reboot era for me. Because I'm a huge classic fan, so when it came back to Shadow, I liked that they kind of started making Laura more classic as they went along, like the ability to swan dive and stuff like that. That they added like sort of things into the game that just kind of made it more classic for me, and you could see slowly that she was becoming the classic Tomb Raider that we sort of know her as time went along, which is very, very cool. But the nice thing about Shadow is that I think it catered towards classic fans as well as sort of the reboot fans as well, which is really, really, really nice. But yeah, in general, I think Shadow was definitely one of my favorite games. I love Jonah and Laura's relationship. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, I did like the characters in Shadow a lot. I think they did really well with that, and the soundtrack in Shadow is quite nice as well to listen to as well.
Yes.
It's not.
So
It is good.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And
It
I
is
love
nice.
his story behind it, because he actually went, was it to, I don't know what, like, I know he actually, the composer, I don't know how to say his last name, but his first name is Brian. He actually traveled like to, was it Peru? I'm not really sure, but in the making of video, he went there and he actually got like, I know one of the instruments was called a death whistle, which I know it said that if like you look certain ways, you'll hear it. And I think it's such a nice touch, like whenever they were leading up to like the shield and whatnot, to have like that kind of like freaky sort of sound going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is the thing I really liked about kind of Shadow, and that they did so much research into stuff like that, and I think it's incredible with how much depth they went into making this, and the sort of it's just absolutely incredible with how they designed it and the knowledge as well, because you learn stuff as well. It's fantastic. It's really interesting.
They definitely do their homework in designing these games. Shadow, has one, I think one of the coolest moments in all of Tomb Raider, which is actually Jay's background there. I think that's the scene I'm thinking of. Maybe not.
Yeah.
It is. It's the
Yes.
scene.
Okay.
Yes.
She goes psycho.
What I
Full
call the
psycho
Terminator
mode.
moment. Yeah.
Yes.
Where she's like
I
rising
love
up
that
out of the
scene.
flames and the
Oh my
music's just like
god.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
Iconic.
one's
it's
great.
It's
terrifying.
And
I
like
can
the
watch that on a
breakdown
loop.
right after is also really great. Like the whole section, like first she has this badass
Mhm.
one where she kicks everybody's ass and is a killing machine, and then like she comes to realize what has happened and what she has done, and that Jonah is still dead, and then he's coming out. Like that scene always gets me.
Mhm.
It's so well acted. I love it. Too.
Yeah.
Just the whole mood of and the weight to that scene, like just
Mhm.
the music, it's just the way the cinematography of the way it's shot,
Mhm.
like it's just phenomenal.
Mhm.
Coolest scene I think in all the games. What
I
about
agree.
you? Is your fave?
So my answer is a little basic. I'm gonna go with Tomb Raider 1 because that was the start of everything, that gave us the character that we all know and love, and all the iterations and all the versions after, like with the LAU trilogy, the Survivor trilogy, everything like that. She kind of started it all, So I really looked up to her when I was little. So that game like really resonates with me, and the franchise as well.
I think Tomb Raider 1 as well, for me, the soundtrack in Tomb Raider 1 is just amazing.
Iconic,
Absolutely
yeah.
incredible. I think
You get
Nathan McCreed,
chills.
exactly, yeah, it's fantastic. The music just works so well in the atmosphere in Tomb Raider 1. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. Just
It's very
really, really good.
recognizable as well.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Also, like one, like basically my favorite Tomb Raider track of all time. Like, it is from Tomb Raider 1, and like, I mean, Anniversary remade a lot of the track, like beautifully remade the tracks from Tomb Raider 1, but it missed my absolute favorite, which is Longing for Home. And
Oh,
like,
yes.
yeah.
it's so beautiful. Like it always plays in Midas's Palace and like in some other places too. And like
Colosseum.
Colosseum as well. And like the track is just so beautiful. And they didn't put it on Anniversary, and that's quite frankly its biggest crime.
I would say my favorite. I probably could go with Shadow, but I'm going to say 2013 is my favorite. It was the one that introduced me. That was the first game I played in the whole franchise. I kind of went through Tomb Raider backwards. Like Shadow is actually the first one I ever finished, which is interesting. Yeah, I started last. I finished Shadow, and then I started playing it backwards. Like I went back and started over. I played 2013 when it came out, but I never finished it at the time. And not because it was amazing. I just stuff happened, but I never finished it. But played through 13 again, and then I finished Rise. I'm really bad at finishing games. I play so many at once.
Honestly, same.
I'll start like 7 games, and I'll have 7 in progress games, and I never finish any of them. So I'm bad at finishing. So anytime I finish a game, it's like a personal achievement. But that's just the nature of the platform. So with Game Infinite, I'm trying to get enough games like played throughout a year for our annual reviews, and just being a multi-game platform. But so Tomb Raider 13 was my introduction to the franchise, and I went back and played backwards. So I played like the LAU and the classic. So I kind of went backwards. But 13 was special for me because it was where I got into it, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a really cool survival game. It has like horror elements. Just being this idea of being trapped on an island. I don't know. There's just something special about it. Maybe it's a little bit of nostalgia because it's just what I think of as my first like experience getting into this story. So that was definitely my favorite. Moving on to the next question. I'm gonna skip a couple of these because I want to make sure we give enough time. I don't want to rush.
Can I just butt in once? Sorry, I've just realised something hilarious. Piccadilly. I've just noticed that my background is bloody London. I've just realised, like, I got Laura from Tomb Raider 3, but of course I had to pick this one, didn't I? Just dawned on me.
I was going to spend some time talking about the films, but I want to make sure we give enough time to the future of Tomb Raider section. So I want to focus on these questions, make sure we give them enough time, because I think we might have some opinions. So question that we're going to talk about is we've talked a lot about the past of Tomb Raider, right? Like some of our favorite games, why we love it, what's the community special, and I want to look towards the future. I want to focus on that a little bit. We now have confirmation that the next Tomb Raider game is coming from Crystal Dynamics. Surprisingly, it's not going to be from Square Enix anymore. It's going to be under the Embracer Group, which is really cool. That they're much more reboot friendly company. So the odds that we're going to get some remakes of the classics has gone up, which is good. We fans have been begging that for years. But we know that Crystal Dynamics is still working on the next Tomb Raider game. We don't know much about it. We know it's going to be made in Unreal Engine 5. I'm really excited about that because Unreal Engine 5 looks phenomenal, and some of the first generation titles we're seeing in Unreal Engine 5, like Forspoken and a couple others, they look really amazing. I can only imagine what Tomb Raider in what in that engine is going to look like. So the question is we now know what's coming. We don't know exactly because they're kind of messing with the timeline a little bit. So they're talking about like a unified timeline. Is it still going to somewhat continue the story from Shadow? Like, what's it going to look like? We don't know. So the question is a new one's coming. What do you guys want to see in a new Tomb Raider, in the Tomb Raider game?
Dual pistols.
Yes. Yes. I just want them back. Okay, like okay, I don't know about you guys, but like, I've grown up with the classics. Then I came to love LAU. And then the reboot trilogy happened. And while I think that Rise and Shadow are really good games, I'm still missing every time. I love using the pistol. It's one of my favorite weapons every single time. I love it more than any of the others. But like, I want two of them. I just want that classic Lara feel. Like the dual pistols is just a big part of it. Like just jumping around, doing like the jumps through the air and like shooting stuff. I just miss it. I really want the dual pistols just back. I think it would be very fun to make the combat a little more refreshing.
It was such a tease at the end of 2013 where she got them. I know.
Yes. And then you have it again in the Rise Blood Ties DLC, and then they just never talk about them again. And I'm like,
I anticipated that answer, that I almost wrote the question as, besides dual pistols, what do you want to see? But now I'm like, I'll let that come up because I knew it was going to come up. So yeah, definitely good, fair answer. What else?
Hand-to-hand combat.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, I can
and
see that
also,
too. That would be really cool.
While I want the dual pistols back, like that's a must, like that has to be your main weapon, I still would love the bow as an option for stealth sections because I do like using it. I like the
And then
I agree that
make it optional.
Yeah, we should have more options instead of less. Like they shouldn't take away the bow now because now it's become part of a kit. It's like really handy. It's really useful. A lot of people like using it. And like, why not have both?
I mean, definitely. I think the bow is a fantastic addition to the game. Although I'm terrible at stealth, like really bad. But last time I played a Hitman game, I ended up killing the target and all the witnesses too. So but yeah, the bow and arrow is a great addition to it. I think it's good to give the player more choice about what they choose weapons wise. There is one thing that I liked about kind of the reboot games is that she could craft things to distract enemies, stuff like that. That was pretty fun. That was pretty cool, and stuff like that. I think that was certainly something that I would love to see. Sort of in the future Tomb Raider anyway, because I feel like in the reboot they did add stuff to it that would be good in a sort of like a classic era as well. But I think for me, what I'd like to see is. I'm not gonna lie. I would love to see remakes of Tomb Raider. I'm desperate to see. I would just like games.
Imagine
like
Wreck of the Maria Doria, but like remade and oh my god, yeah, I get that. I get that.
Tomb Raider 3, seeing levels like the crash site with the dinos and Nevada desert, and it's gonna look so good, and I can't wait. And but there is one game that I think I would love to see, and this is very controversial. Get remade, and that's Angel of Darkness.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think that's controversial at all.
No, not at all.
Think if any of the past Tomb Raider games deserve it, it's Angel of Darkness.
And absolutely, I feel like Angel of Darkness had one of the most genius stories I've ever seen in a game. It was just incredible, and it got cut. It got completely cut in half, and it's so sad. And the writer, Murty Schofield actually released a zip file of of all the things that were going to be all the things that
I
were
read it
missing.
too.
I know
I
it's
read it
fantastic,
all.
and it was heartbreaking because of the fact that the ideas were so good and so amazing, and the fact that we didn't get to see that and play that was literally heartbreaking.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that there was supposed to be an entire trilogy.
Yeah.
Like Angel of Darkness was only supposed to be the first game, but then it flopped so hard. And so like the other two games were cut, and like knowing all like the zip file documents that like Mark mentioned, like I read all of them. I read through all of them, and like my heart was breaking so much because everything was so interesting. It was so good. It could have been amazing. And that is exactly why I wanted AOD remake, but like with all the cut content back into it. And like if Embracer is smart, they're gonna get Murty back to like write the script and everything, because if anything, I think he deserves to have his vision actually, come to life.
It was genius. Like the writing was perfect.
Yeah, but speaking of Angel of Darkness, what I want for the next Tomb Raider game, if it's not a remake of anything, I'd love for the next Tomb Raider game to have more varied settings and like have more medieval sort of settings, because I think that's something that we don't really get a lot in Tomb Raider. Like we have ancient stuff like in Egypt. We have enough of Mayan and Incan stuff for now. I think like we had an entire game centered around it, and I think it's time, to leave Peru and Mexico alone and like go somewhere else in the world.
I feel like with AOD was that like I would have loved to have seen the castle. That would have been a wonderful addition.
Yeah, in general, like some medieval settings and castles would be really great to like get into Tomb Raider and everything. Like that's why I really love Rise with like all the Byzantine stuff. And I think it was just really refreshing from everything else we have seen in the series before. So I'd love for like some more medieval settings to return and like be a more focus of the next game.
Armor outfits.
Oh yeah. I agree with a lot of those points. I would love to see more in the next, especially with what Unreal Engine's capable of with N5, is they could definitely give us multiple locations with various different settings. Like we don't need to have an entire jungle game, an entire like Rise was cool because we got like more snow settings, which and that was different. But we could have multiple types of environments all within the one game. Do some map hopping a little bit. I agree with that.
As
what I'm
absolutely
definitely think that would be a thing.
I think it would be nice, like in Tomb Raider 3, like where you could pick where to go as well, like on the globe, where you could like choose the next location to go to, which is quite cool, because you could pick one location that you might like the most, and then one you might not like the most, so it'd be nice for the player to kind of like pick where her next sort of adventure is going to be.
What about
make Croft Manor the hub? You go to Croft Manor, and then from there you go. That's what I want. Make it
good
good,
actually. That's actually a good idea.
That's what I want.
What about Izzy, Irene? What about you? What do you want to see in the new upcoming Tomb Raider?
I was gonna say Croft Manor, honestly. Like I have been dying for that. I just miss it so much. Like it was like one of my favorite things in the LAU. And then whenever I finally got to like play the classics, just being able to like do everything and go everywhere. I want it to be as open as possible. Like that's like probably my main thing. But yeah.
I want activities and things to do in there. I want to be able to sit down. Like I want to like play house in Manor.
Take
for
a nap.
real. Yeah.
Have a cup of tea with Winston.
Yeah, exactly.
Lock him in the freezer.
Exactly.
That needs. I want that to return. I want that to be somehow possible. That
just comes out like a big cube of ice. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, definitely the Croft Manor. I definitely agree with that. Touching back again on the hand-to-hand combat, because I think we really only saw it in AOD, right? That was the only game that kind of introduced it, and we all know AOD's controls. So I'd like a more polished version, to be able to see that with this like generation of graphics. And also, I want her muscles to keep growing. You know, I love her muscles in Shadow. So yeah.
Like in Shadow, you can see like combat. Like she knows it clearly, but then we don't get to experience it. Like she takes down the guy, like she wrestles him down, but like we don't get to do any of that stuff. We
Right,
need some type of
exactly.
physicality that we can play too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what that just reminded me of, I don't know if any of you guys played it, but like in Metal Gear Solid 3 or in general Metal Gear Solid combat, like you have a lot of stealth, of course, but like you can sneak up on enemies and like drag them around and like choose what to do with them, and like stuff like that. Having that for Lara, like if she faces human enemies, would be pretty cool, I think. Yeah, that you get the option to like, you know, sneak up on somebody or just knock them out or something like that. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I remember reading
please.
Tomb Raider 3 in Nevada. I know that in a remake it'd be pretty cool because they were already planning to have like I remember, I think like hand-to-hand combat, something with a knife or something, you know, and like where she loses her weapons. I figure, yeah, I could see it being pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They could almost do a heavily customizable Lara. So like hitting on a couple of your points where like the Tomb Raider community is very varied in their opinions on like what Lara looks like and acts and stuff, and there's different fans of different eras. Like you could just like satisfy everybody in one game by making Lara like super customizable. Like you could have a more classic Croft with dual pistols and classic more outfits, less muscular, whatever, like different physique. Or you could even like, you know, customize like the physique and the hair and like braids, no braids. Like you could like they could almost build a game where it's still Croft and it's the same story, but like you could choose your gameplay style. Like, is it more stealth focused? Is it more action? Is there dual pistols? Is it a bow focus? Like you could go through and like, and even like physique, like do we get like the more unified, more muscular, more classic? Like you could just like go through and just make all of these things customizable to satisfy everyone's opinions, and that way you can kind of make Croft be the character that you want Croft to be in the game. That might be a way to like, I don't know, I think like just like dialing the customization up to 11 would be a really good way to satisfy just the wide plethora of the community of like you see that a lot in the art community of it. Is just like they debate of like the art and like what does Croft look like and all this other stuff. It's just like, well, you can just satisfy everybody by adding in a huge amount of customization, clothes, weapons, combat, all that stuff.
And then people are gonna be fighting on Twitter, being like, "My Lara's the best Lara."
Oh no.
So I'm like, I like that, but I'm like, I can see that being not unified, you know.
Also, I loved the difficulty settings in Shadow.
Yes.
I feel like
I want
that's
that to return too.
Yeah, for sure. Or even to expand on it, you know.
Yeah. That's actually what I love the most about Shadow. Like, especially like once you had played through the hardest mode and then like you had Deadly Obsession, where like I loved it that you could turn the white paint off.
Yes.
I want that to, but like I'd love that to be able to, like, I'd love that to be an available option from the beginning, because I like over the past 10 to 15 years, whenever I see white ledges or yellow ledges that are like so hardcore yelling at you, yes, hi, you have to climb here this way, please. I don't want that anymore. Okay. Like I whenever there's an option to turn it off, I'm gonna take it. Because I love exploring in games, like especially with the reboot trilogy. Whenever there's the option to turn off these survival instincts, I do it. I don't work with survival instincts. I don't want them. I only use them maybe if I'm going for the 100% completion and there are a few collectibles I'm missing and I'm like too lazy to like constantly swap back to the map and then I just press the button. But usually when I play the game normally and go through the story, I do it without the survival instincts. I just run around, find my way, and I'm good to go.
Oh, I suck. I do it all the time.
I was just thinking the
I
same
like
thing.
it. I'm lazy. I like it.
I was just thinking that. I was like, can we leave them on?
See, I'm a masochist. I like doing stuff that's harder for me and like to torture myself. So, you know, I just love that having that option to make things harder for me than they have to.
The next question I had is actually similar in a lot of ways, so I think we could just kind of like segue it in a little bit, because we've been talking about the next Tomb Raider game that we know about. We know some things about it. It's going to be a Unreal Engine 5 third-person action what type of era it is, more unified, like that's all something we could discuss. We've been talking about like specific like features that we want to see show up, or specific mechanics. But the next question is a little bit even bigger scope, aside from that game. So taking that upcoming game aside for a second, this is kind of a pie in the sky like dream question of, so it's inspired by our 5 games article series. So we have an article series called 5 games, where I pitch 5 games from scratch set in a universe. We actually did do one in Tomb Raider. So I pitched 5 Tomb Raider games of various different genres and concepts and settings. And I really like pitching hypothetical games, because I'm always coming up with like, I would love to see a game in this. So I kind of wanted to make that question in here. So in addition to the next Tomb Raider game that we know about, if you could pitch your own spin-off game, not the sequel that we know is coming, so your own spin-off, it could be any genre, it could be a top-down RTS if you want, any genre, any platform, any setting, any character difference, like some type of spin-off, your own game. Now we'll give each of you a chance to go through this. You could pitch your own game, whatever and just kind of like just the highlight points of like what type of genre it is, what makes it unique, your own spin-off set within the Tomb Raider concept. What would your dream spin-off game be?
Curtis Trent, full stop, end of. That's it. Curtis Trent for me. Yeah, I think Curtis Trent for me, and Angel of Dark, because I think he was supposed to have his own game, wasn't he? Yes, he was. Yeah.
And like there was this whole rig of all like different abilities for him and what they were supposed to do, what they could have looked like and everything. And I was like, yeah, that sure would have been cool.
Oh yeah, I think it would have been really cool, especially like with his motorcycle and stuff like that. Like there was just something really cool about him, and I think there would have been something just really magical about it. And
especially with his entire backstory and everything, it could have been so cool.
I know, and it would be cool. I think kind of like maybe like getting the option to play as like Lara or Curtis as well. Maybe like if they did do like a remake of Angel of Darkness, maybe you could like have like different playable characters as well with that sort of stuff. I think that'd be really cool.
Then maybe you could swap around and like maybe do something in Lara's section that unlocks something in Curtis section, or like something.
A bit like sort of Guardian of Light sort of thing as well, where they can help each other sort of thing. That'd be really cool.
Which brings me to what I'd like to see another spin-off. I really love the Lara Croft games. And like, especially because you can play them together with friends, right? And that's like when I played them together with Jay, like Jay Samuel Jay, the other Jay. Like it was just so much fun. And like I'd really love to see another game like from that kind of genre, like because I really love the puzzles in the Lara Croft games, and I don't mind that it's top down, but like they have a very classic Tomb Raider feel to them for me. And like the puzzles are fun, the atmosphere, especially in Temple of Osiris, is great, like with the music and everything. It's very beautiful. It looks very beautiful, and like having different characters be available for everybody is also pretty cool. And like the customization with like the amulets and everything that you have boosts to your stats and like your abilities, I think that's really great. And like just having another game like with that kind of concept behind it would be pretty cool. I don't have any specific wishes what kind of setting it could be, but like I'd be fine with anything, like whether it's maybe something more set with like in Chinese history, or like about a Chinese artifact, or like something more set in Asia or something in Europe. I really wouldn't mind, but I just want another Lara Croft game.
I think this sort of stuff shines, especially in like the TRLE community. I'm going to mention this because I love custom levels that they design. And there are so many wonderful custom levels that people spend years making, and they are just fantastic. Like fan-made projects are incredible with Tomb Raider, especially the sort of things like Nico Bass's Tomb Raider 2 remake is just incredible. It's just amazing. Like the amount of work and effort they put into making those fan projects, it's incredible.
The Angel of Darkness remake they're doing right now with the Freak Raider. Conrad.
Yes.
I know.
Oh my god. I can't wait for that one.
So
what about you guys? Jay, I mean, do you have any pitches?
I was thinking something about maybe the doppelganger. Finding out what she did after Underworld, and then imagine if like she ended up meeting with Lara, like they ended up somehow finding each other on their missions, and it kind of interconnected that way. That's what I was thinking.
Cool.
That's cool.
so I'm kind of going off of Opera there, but I would love a game from like the villain's perspective. Maybe take like Underworld Natla and just like you're playing as Natla and like you kind of create the doppelganger and like you kind of get to see her side of things and like her thought process on making the doppelganger, everything she had to go through to get hit to like make it, and maybe like I don't know, infiltrate the Croft Manor or something, and you kind of just battle Laura as like Laura's like the enemy, and from your perspective, you know.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah, there's technically no rule. Like you could set games in the universe with a different like protagonists and see like other perspectives that you could. I mean, I think it'd be harder to do. You'd have to really pull it off because like Croft is why people show up for this, but like it's not. I don't think it'd be impossible. There are other cool stories that could be told in these universes. So I'd be willing to try.
I want a horror game. I want something because I like the 2013 had like a hint of it, but I want horror kind of like as above, so below, Ascension, like something like that. It can even be like a Until Dawn type of game. Like I don't care. Like I with Lara in it, but like I want more horror. Don't care what kind, any kind, any kind of villain.
I think when it comes to just quickly returning to what we're talking about with the bad guys, is that they were going to do that in Angel of Darkness, which is really, really sad. I'm just this stream should just be called Let's Just Talk About Angel of Darkness.
It just keeps coming up, man.
I love how you just circle back to it.
You could play.
I can understand why though.
Oh, you could play as Eckhart in Angel of Darkness, and that was amazing. Like the idea behind that was incredible, and I like in general, like if I was to pitch another Tomb Raider game, like I would love to see multiple sort of characters where you could play as different sort of because I feel like in Tomb Raider games you see villains doing stuff, but it's like, you know, what else are they doing in their spare time? You know, they're not going to be, you know, drinking a cup of tea, sitting up, are they? You know, they're going to be doing something, and I would love to see kind of the player being that villain and then getting up to where we would normally see that villain in the game. That'd be fantastic. I would love that.
I'm going to use maybe a really bad example because it was like not at all completely like controversial, but what they could do to try to achieve that is kind of like a dual protagonist system like Last of Us 2. Where you see, I know that's a bad example because I love it and people hate it, but I'm using it as an example to paint the picture of like we could have Croft on one half of the game and then the villain of the game on the other half. You play as the villain. You could go back and forth and see both perspectives. So maybe that's a bad example, but I like Last of Us 2, but I know a lot of people are very, very opinionated on it. We could probably talk about it for an hour, but that system, maybe not the story, but that system of a dual protagonist where you play as both the protagonist and the antagonist in the same game.
I mean, if it's Lara, like I don't see a problem with that.
Right.
I think everybody would be happy with that.
It does work well because like a game that I played recently called Quantum Break, they did that wonderfully with that sort of
Quantum Break is good. I like that.
Quantum Break is really, really good.
I haven't played that. That was a long time ago, but that's a good reference. I like that. I have a couple game pitches myself. So what I'm going to do is I'll put the article in the link in the YouTube video, and I'll put it up in the background in this video here. But I want to pitch it to you guys, see which ones you like. I'll go through them real quick. So I had 5. My fifth pick was what I call Tomb Raider Adventures. It's basically an 8-bit retro game. So picture 2D platformer, 8-bit like art style, just like a modern retro experience 2D, and you're basically playing as Croft, but in like I was inspired by the Final Fantasy Brave Exvius type like art, that very 8-bit Croft. So I thought like a 2D platformer set with that would be really cool. Just go classic but 2D. My 4 pick was picture this, like a gameplay top-down twin stick shooter like the Temple of Osiris, those types of games, but with Lara Croft Go's art style. So I love the Go art style.
Yeah, that one's
real-time
combat.
Yeah. I've got a confession. I've never played Lara Croft Go.
You should.
So
you love
good.
it.
You need to.
It's so good.
It's really good.
Oh
The
my
puzzles are amazing.
It's turn-based, like it's not really
Mm.
combat, it's more puzzle focused, but there's a
Yeah.
little bit of combat, but it's like a turn-based system. And I was like, this is a really cool art style. And if you put that over like the real-time combat and the twin stick shooter of the Osiris like games, that was this. I basically called it just Lara Croft
Yeah.
Go 2, but like with real time. So
Mhm.
that was my fourth pick.
I've owned it for like 3 years. I've never opened it.
Mark,
Download
go
it right
play that
now.
after this. Go
Yeah,
play
go
that
play it.
after
It's
this.
fun. It's better on a tablet if you have any type of tablet like an iPad or
Oh,
something. I
iPad,
feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
I think it's a better experience on the larger screen because the
Yeah.
art style is really pretty.
I mean,
my
you can
number
play it on PC. You can play it on PC actually. It's on Steam.
Oh, right. I forgot
Oh.
about that. You are not wrong. Number third pick was what I called Tomb Raider Vampire Hunter. So this one skews way into the fantasy side. So we get a much more like supernatural story against vampires, and it's like a much more supernatural, like gothic type island with
Mhm.
vampires and ghosts and like
Sound-
hard
yeah.
I'm
hard.
here for
I
it.
want it. I
fantasy.
want it now.
Yeah.
It sounds a
it's
bit like Chronicles with Ireland, that section when
Mm.
with young Laura in Chronicles
Yeah.
with the sort of the demons and stuff like that. That I mean that section was pretty good. I did like that section in
Yeah.
Chronicles.
I love Chronicles. It's very underrated actually.
Yeah, Vampire Hunter, the one that pitch is my favorite because it's just, I don't know, it's different. I love the supernatural elements of
Mm.
and we just, especially in the reboot series, we only get them at like the very end of each game. So I
Mhm.
want a whole game set where like instead of just fighting, the humans, I want to be
Yeah.
fighting like monsters and stuff, and
Yep.
just it's a much more gothic, hard, like fantasy setting, very dark. And my number two one was I called Tomb Raider Nightmare, which is essentially what Jay said, which is just an Until Dawn-esque horror, like really just like instead of shifting the fantasy side, shifting the horror meter all the way to 11, because that was one of my favorite aspects of Tomb Raider 13. So that one is and I'm giving you like the abbreviated versions of these, but like I wrote out like much more in depth like aspects of these games. But the Nightmare one is essentially what Jay said, was just a horror version, and then my number one was just an LAU remake. Take that whole trilogy, remake it in a modern engine, give us more of a modern look. I think it'd be really cool. But yeah, those were my 5 picks in that, and I'll put it in the background. I'll put it in the description. But those are some games that I'd love to see happen.
I love it.
I love those ideas. Yeah.
Yeah.
The vampire one, especially.
I think it's my
cool.
favorite out of my 5
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
didn't put it as number one, but that's my personal favorite. It's just I don't know. It's just cool. It's the idea of being on an island, and it's more of like a gothic, dark kind of like vampire setting.
Yeah.
But it's still Croft, and there's still like Croft elements. There's still tombs, but I think it puts a whole new spin on the concept of tomb raiding. If there's actual like vampires and ghosts and stuff, I don't know. I think it's cool.
Do you think maybe like you'd maybe like create like a TRLE maybe with like your own sort of like custom sort of game? Because you do have really good ideas, so maybe you could sort of
That's true.
Yeah, because with the engine, you can do so much with it now. There's so many different things out there that you can do with the engine, mods, making it look sort of a lot newer. Because I know that the TRLE thing came out in like something like 2000 or something like that with Chronicles.
2001,
something like that. Because I remember it came with the Chronicles disc. It's like a disc 2.
For PC.
Yeah, but
I have that one actually.
Yeah. There's so many different things you can do with it though, and in general they've updated it since with fan sort of patches and stuff like that. And nowadays it's fantastic. Like the layout of it, you can do so much with it. It's amazing. There you
go.
Yeah.
I actually. Oh my God. Okay.
no.
Camera. No. Okay. No. I have to show this because I actually think it's really cool. So okay. There we go. Okay. Ooh, it's my normal background. But yeah, I mean, this is the German version of it. But yeah, it actually came.
Oh.
That's
with all CDs falling out of them. But no, you had this little booklet over here, and then that was the Tomb Raider level editor, and like you could install it and then make your own. And like it was actually surprised. A lot of people didn't know that this was part of it. But like, yeah, it's still inside here.
It's actually really embarrassing because when I first played Chronicles, I saw the level editor and I actually thought it was a whole game by itself. So like I was probably about 8 or 9, and I got through every level, and then the game just ended, and I was like, wait, what? This is really crap.
For some reason, I have Tomb Raider 4 and 5 in here. I'm not questioning it. In the Tomb Raider 5Ks, that's not where it belongs.
No, I think that'd be cool too. It's always been one, like it'd be really cool to actually like make one, because I this is a whole series of articles that I do, where like I've done everything. I've done like a dozen or so different installments with various topics, and the Tomb Raider one was one of the first few that we did. And no, I'm not a game designer. Like I don't. I have the ideas. I don't have the actual like skills to like pull off actually making one. Like I actually thought about like downloading the Unreal 5 demo, because you can download the engine and try it out and just play with it, because they have a lot of assets in there.
You can work with Irene because she's
Working on Croft Manor right now, yeah.
I'll pitch your ideas to Embracer or Crystal Dynamics. I'm sure they can
Yeah.
do something with it.
Well, I'm going for Jeff Keighley's job by being the
Understandable.
so once basically I am him, then I will be able to have all these. I actually we are with Game Infinite, so we are building a lot of relationships with indie developers. We have our indie game trailer project, which is actually a big cornerstone of Infinite Summer. So some shameless plug, but Infinite Summer is this whole summer like news cycle. So June is the biggest month one of the biggest months in gaming when it comes to just like, that's when E3 typically happened. Now we have Summer Game Fest, which has kind of replaced that. And we do all of this gaming stuff, and we're doing like recaps of all the big events, but we're also doing our own things. So we're doing indie developers, doing like developer interviews. We're doing these discussion panels, which are just topical discussions, something you'd see at like a con or something, and building up this whole platform. Just to bend, we're definitely acquiring more and more indie, because we launched our YouTube channel, which is where this is going, where we launched our indie trailer project. So we're uploading like actual video game trailers in partnerships with the developers and publishers, in the same way that like IGN or GameSpot would. So I'm not Jeff Keighley, I'm not coming for his job just yet, but that's the goal. So maybe when I'm there, then I can start making my own games that I'm pitching. So how about, I think we got time for maybe one more question. I skipped over through the film section because I really wanted to devote a good amount of time for the future. But
I'm so glad that you skipped over the film section, because that's what I was talking about when I came in. I've not seen the new film with Alicia Vikander.
What's wrong with you? Why?
I've seen it once and I forgot most of it.
I've seen it once too.
I was thinking, is there enough time before like to watch the movie just quickly?
Oh
so I had
my
an
God.
opinion. But
It's 2013 without any of the horror, any of the good stuff. 2013.
Basically, yeah, it's a downgraded 2013 that tried to chuck in some other stuff and like made the father plot worse. Yeah.
It essentially is 2013. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Alyssa was fantastic.
Oh, amazing! She's amazing, Lara.
Yeah, true. Alicia as Lara, she works absolutely amazing, and I think she also had that sass that was necessary. And when she had the dual pistol, I was like, I can see that she's the girl. But the writing of the movie itself, it ain't it, man. It ain't it.
I love how they did the tomb though at the end. The tomb
that was
good.
good.
The puzzle,
the puzzles and the traps and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
God, the traps were pretty cool though. Like that one shot where she's like going underneath it. I love it still.
I like the new movie. I realize it's basically just like a soft reboot of the 2013 game, but like I thought it was good. I
could have
enjoyed
done more with it, but I didn't hate it. So.
Yeah, I like aspects of it for sure.
Yeah, me too. Like I think it was all right, but it just didn't come close to like the other two movies with Angelina Jolie to me. Like I just like if I want to watch a Tomb Raider movie, I'd rather watch the first Tomb Raider movie or Cradle of Life than I'd watch the 2018 movie.
Yeah, I have both of them on the steelbook, like nice like cases. I don't even know the other one. I one day maybe, but I don't know.
Well, let's talk about the Jolie era real quick. We don't what makes that so iconic? Why
it was just so cheesy, and that's what I love about it.
That's
what made it. The one-liners, stuff like that. Instead, just stuff like that.
It made it feel so much like Tomb Raider to me because, like, especially classic Lara, she had a lot of one-liners. Then you had Pierre and Larson, they had their one-liners, and like it was just it just felt like you were actually watching a Tomb Raider game as a movie.
Yeah.
She actually looks like her as well.
I was like,
that
she's
too.
a perfect. She's
Yeah,
a perfect
she
Lara.
she was
Yeah.
a perfect match, and like I also really loved that they didn't like what the 2018 movie did. They
Yeah.
like the Jolie movies. They made their own stories. They didn't take like a classic game and were like, yeah, they didn't say, okay, we take the story of Tomb Raider 2 and just turn that into a movie. They did their completely own thing. And I think that's why they worked so well. It's just another adventure of Lara, just like the comics did it, you know, they made up their completely own thing. And I think that's why it's great.
And she's perfect. Like it just feels like you're watching actually Lara Croft alive, like Kim alive. Like she doesn't not like she's faking it. She has that edge, that badassness too. Like you don't want to mess with her. She's just the perfect Lara. Yeah.
And I mean, come on, it's Angelina Jolie. What
Jolie,
else can I say?
Right.
I think kind of growing up with me, I think a lot of the things I liked about the films was a lot of the references they made in the films. Like I liked the Shiva statues reference in the first film. That was really cool. Like the sort of the jungle sort of setting, stuff like that. I just thought it was really cool. And I'm not sure if this is true. I think, didn't they take Croft Manor from the movie, didn't they? Because it looks so similar.
Yeah, LAU did take
I'll say
that
Legend,
manor. And that's why they're so great. Also, because I also really loved like what they did to the manor. Because I mean, the Tomb Raider 3 manor is all right. Like especially like if you play it and have like the quad track outside, but you know, design wise inside it's not the best, and then you see the movie one and it's just like perfect. That's what you imagine the manor to look like. And then Legend and Anniversary did take exactly that, and you know, it was just so pleasing.
I do like Anniversaries with the maze and that. I do and the sundial. It's very clever. I do like that. It's very cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we can all agree that those movies are iconic for all those reasons. It's definitely cool. Before we wrap up and move on, I want to say thank you to everyone for taking time out of their day to just talk about Tomb Raider and help contribute to Infinite Summer content. I'm really excited for this panel. I think the Tomb Raider community and Tomb Raider Infinite fans are going to really like it. Before we wrap up, I want to give everyone a chance to plug. So just if you have an upcoming stream or a project that you're working on that you would like to share with them, we're going to be putting everyone the discussion panelists in the description as well. Just try to give everyone a chance to get a little bit of FaceTime out of this. So we'll if I would like to start, just if you want to just add like how you have an upcoming project or stream or something to plug to the audience.
Gonna be streaming right after this, so
probably too,
Keep in mind it'll take me time to edit and upload this. We're not live,
okay, but
maybe a project coming up.
I'd just like to say thank you for having me. Jay, thank you so much for like recommending me. Like it was so out of the blue for me, and I'm very excited to be part of this. And I love you too. And it was so great to be here and like to talk with you guys about like, you know, our shared passion Tomb Raider. So, you know, but yeah, if anyone thinks they want to follow me, my Twitter handle is at Piccadilly, and it's the same on Twitch as well. If you're into Final Fantasy, if you're into Tomb Raider, if you're into Uncharted, if you're into Nintendo games, then come and check me out. I stream every now and then when I have time off from university and work. At least I try to, like 2 times a week roughly. But yeah, if that sounds like your thing, then maybe check me out if you want to. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us and hosting this. This was great and a lot of fun too.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. You'll see me spamming your timelines with photos. Like I don't have to plug anything. I'll annoy you online. I'll be all over the place, and you know I do Twitch, but you'll see me around.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody should check out Jay's Twitter because those photos are great and awesome. So you know.
Thank you.
They're not annoying.
I feel annoying. I'm under too much.
No, oh my god. Don't feel annoying for posting art. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for all coming too. Like when Jesse was wanting to do this, I need these guys. Like they're my favorites to watch. So I knew you guys would just kill it, and was so much fun to hang out with you guys today.
Yeah.
I'm really
Absolutely.
thankful
Thank
for
you.
Jay's recommendations because I've seen like a couple of you like show up for like Tomb Raider Tuesdays every now and then. I've seen like a couple here and there, but like I initially embarrassed Jay a little bit. I initially reached out and then I followed up a couple days later. I was like, does no one want to talk about Tomb Raider for like 2 hours? Like, come on, guys! Like, someone answer me. They're like, no, like I'm shy. I don't want to do it. Like,
Yeah.
"But it'll be fun. And then he
I
just
was like, it's a
wow, so-
podcast as long. And he's like, you do Twitch. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. I guess you're right.
He's like, I don't know. I'm scared of doing a 90-minute. I'm like, but you stream
Yeah.
all the time. So yeah, no, I'm glad. I'm thankful for the recommendations because we got some really cool talent. I got to meet some of you for
Yeah.
the first time, so that was really awesome. Thank you all for joining. Quick plug for more Infinite Summer content. Please stay tuned here on the Game Infinite YouTube channel. You will be seeing more developer interviews, more discussion panels, more special trailers of various indie games. We got a lot of cool stuff planned over the month of June. So definitely hit subscribe. Please stay here and you'll see a lot of cool content, not just from Game Infinite, but from our indie partners as well. And we'll see you guys on the next Game Infinite video.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy.